All right, so yeah, first up we've got Feffen. The song is Funk Draft. It is a work in progress. Says made this a year ago. Singer turned out to be a cokehead, looking for a vocalist before I finish with drops and a solo.
Yeah, what the hell? That's crazy.
Fun.
Is the Coke lyrics on here? All right, but cool. You ready to start?
All right, let's do it.
All
Three,
right.
2, 1, go.
Let us know if you can hear it, chat. Sometimes we fuck up. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
That vocoder
Nice
type,
chords.
Daft Punk. Ugh. I like this. I like this a lot.
Yeah.
I want to sing on this.
Ooh, I like that.
I think there's some side chaining to do with the bass, but
Sure.
the source material, man, it's rocking.
Clean.
It's rocking. Love you, you have.
Ooh. Yeah.
Bro,
That little hook in there is nice. I sort of wish there was also a vocal to go with it.
exactly.
Follow that hook.
There just needs to be like a Daft Punk type vocal.
Yeah, it needs a top line. Yeah.
But for real, like this is fire. Alright, it's got me dancing. I gotta take off my jacket. It's hot.
It's a good sign.
It's hot.
Woo!
Alright,
Nice.
Funk
Dude,
Draft.
that was a pretty good start.
Yeah, dude. Funk Draft, aka Funk Daft, aka
Yeah,
Daft
that was
Punk.
a good
Oh, I should
one.
have said Punk Daft. Oops. Punk
Punk
Daft.
Daft. Ooh, yeah, that'd be good too.
For sure. So I'll give that an excuse because I know that he's getting in terms of repetitiveness, because it was a beat, but he's looking for a vocalist, and I'm sure with that comes structure in itself, and it makes it entertaining. listen to. But goddamn,
Yeah.
that is solid,
I would
solid.
say, yeah, this is like great structure, like great bones for something really full fledged, right? Like
Yeah,
already it's sounding really great as draft one.
yep,
And I think we both said in the chat, you also was saying like a vocalist would just right now it has all of the push, it just needs some of the pull, right?
mm,
Like if you can just get a top line on there that sort of like counteracts the really funky staccato ness with something more fluid,
mm.
that's the ultimate combination right there, and then it's like a really addictive song that you've
Oh
got.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, do we want to go through each category and give our thoughts and ratings?
yeah. Let's do it.
All right,
Honestly,
so
so I was gonna say, like, so people ask sometimes from time to time. We have a track total there that says track purple at the top, and it's like, well, green's good to go. What's this purple? Purple gives that, like, it's like an extra sauce that we just recognize right away is like really, really, really special. And I just want to point out that this song has a potential for a purple. I don't think it's out there yet, but
mhm.
yeah, like, and you see how it got me moving. And the thing with purple is it's subjective, so don't be
Yeah,
hurt.
y-
If you
you
get a
know,
green from us, it's like someone's bound to give it a purple, but maybe not us.
it's interesting too because sometimes things have the secret sauce before they actually have all of the fundamentals, and it's
Yeah,
like in that case the work isn't necessarily in making it more special, it might already be really special, which I think this is. It's more in just like the easy things, like the fundamentals of like adding a vocal to this or like
easy.
tweaking a little bit of mixing in a couple spots, that kind of thing. But
Yeah,
I guess to start off with our scores,
go for it. Yeah,
vibes, I would say this is definitely green, right? I mean, it's not complete.
it's
It would
purple.
the vibes would be even better, but the potential for vibes are so good also. And yeah,
Yeah,
and that's the area where it has that extra something. So I would give it a green in vibes easy for that reason. What about you?
same. Daft Punk vibes. Even if it's a simple vocal, if it's just something that adds a top line, like Josh said, and fills it out, like to use Daft Punk as an example, like some of their songs are fucking repetitive shit. I'm thinking Around the World, for example. Like that song is fucking repetitive
Yeah,
as fuck, but I would jam the whole way because it's just a complete package, and I think this is so close to that. But yeah, vibes. This is green. This is great. If there's a purple for vibes, I'd give it purple. This is
yeah,
right up my
definitely.
alley.
So
Um,
then, I guess content. Let's see. I mean, I think the most important thing in content is just that we need a vocalist.
yep.
It's like partly that there's a little bit of a hole for more of a melody. Like there is that little riff, but that
Yep.
riff just feels like it wants to bolster a full melody, right? Like it's sort of going to double in that little hooky spot, and that's going to be like sonic gold, right?
Yep.
So that's the main suggestion I think in terms of content. Um, this is always like instrument choice and sound choice is always kind of a mix between content and production because it's sort of what a producer does.
Yep.
But I would say that like the only two things that caught my ears maybe being a little bit like inauthentic were at some points the kick sounded a little bit too sort of like you can sort of tell that it's like a sampled kick where
Hmm.
you've got like a little bit too much like beater noise and it's a little bit too consistent actually.
Hmm.
Even just dialing the beater noise back a little bit so it doesn't sound so sort of artificial
What's
might
a
help
beater
with the
noise?
sound. um, so on a kick drum when you've got the foot pedal and then it has the beater that actually hits the drum head,
Hmm.
there are different like materials you can use for that beater that give a different sonic impression off of the head itself. So say a felt you know beater is going to be more of a warm sound, and a plastic one is going to hit more with high frequencies and it's going to sound more sort of like
More transient.
that versus that,
Hmm.
right? Yeah, there's more of a high frequency transient there. And when you get these sample packs, especially if it's like modeled drums, where it's based off of like a bunch of samples, different velocities,
Hmm.
those kick drums especially can become really unrealistic because usually when you're actually recording them, they don't have such a consistent and prominent top end usually.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, I would just say like that's one area where you sort of expose the inner workings a little bit, by like, yeah, I can tell this is like the same sound over and over, or like the same sample or whatever. Just
Yeah.
try to make that a little more natural. And then the other area which also bleeds into production was the bass is just like a little bit artificially pumped. Like it's a little bit too big to where,
Mm,
um, in terms of sonic, there's one issue with just like I'd imagine a lot of systems won't be able to handle the range that you're boosting a lot. I would instead suggest if you want to go for the club vibe, just cut a little bit of that low end that you're doing that's audible in like our headphones and add more in the sub bass, because if you're really trying to give that impression, you need to actually use the sub bass, region rather than the sort of lows and low mids, because that stuff
mm,
can be a disaster when you go to consumer listening systems that can't really pump out that content.
mm,
And it just sounds a little bit stuffy, sort of, right? Like when the low end gets too high, it starts to interact with stuff in the low mids, like instruments and harmonic fundamentals of instruments, and you start to get a little bit congested sounding. So I would just
mm,
say, like, bring that bass, move it out of the way from the other stuff just a little bit, and make sure that you're emphasizing the sub bass for the systems that can actually pump that stuff out the way that you
mm.
want to.
Yeah,
So I mean, that stuff being said, content, I would give it a develop, just because like we need vocals probably, and something
yeah.
to keep the song like it already is staying super fresh, honestly. At 4 minutes and with just instrumental, it's pretty fresh, but the vocal would help it be like a real winner all the way through.
Yep. So for me, content, I'll give right away. Yellow is. Am I hearing an echo? Never mind. Okay. Right away, yellow is without vocals, of course, because we need vocals. And I'm gonna push back a little bit on what Josh said. So sometimes we don't fully agree. I do understand where he's coming from with the kick drum, because I kind of take this as like a clubbing, more so of a clubbing song, more so than it is like a funk song. So I'm forgiving if a sample, as long as it sounds really good. If it's repeated, it's fine to me. I did find a couple of samples that I didn't like that sounded just kind of cheesy. Some of the hi hats I
Yeah.
felt were a little bit kind of weak sounding compared to everything else. Um, and I think in terms of if I were to split up content between production, like content is kind of sample choice and just the quality of the sample material. I think it's all really, really good. They all sound fire by themselves. But I do think there's some fault in the mixing of them together. And I think that's exactly what Josh is alluding to with the bass. So the bass was really loud compared to everything else. It was fucking dope. I love that bass line. Someone on SoundCloud commented that too. Um, yeah, the low mids are definitely very, very high, and it kind of gets in. And you kind of heard it. It kind of clashed with the kick drum a lot. So if you kind of make room for the kick drum in that lower mid area, maybe you wouldn't have to boost the what did you say, the pad noise, whatever it's called, so much.
The beater noise, yeah.
The beater noise, yeah. So in EQing, it's typically ducking before boosting. So try to duck that bass, make room for everything, make room for the
Right.
kick before you boost EQ bands. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think content is for me personally. I think it's green without considering the vocals, and then yellow because we need vocals. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But by the way, one tip here, if you're trying to figure out, because I know like when I listen to the song, it's not so much that there's like really blatant obvious issues with the low end stuff that's happening there. It's
yeah,
more just that it's sort of like sticks out a little bit like a sore thumb, right? Like
yeah,
if I switch between this and Daft Punk or like something that's in this genre, there's going to be a very clear difference in the frequency spectrum that you're getting.
yeah,
So I would just suggest like A B them. Just use reference tracks, whatever you're trying to sound like the most or that you like look up to. Listen to both, and then you're like, oh shit, like mine is like really way out in this area, and there's the one that I'm used to is actually really different than I thought. Reference tracks is a great way to go. One
yeah,
that I forgot about, content with the arrangement, there were a couple areas where I think you could use more like auxiliary sounds, like swells and that kind of stuff, to sort of like, bring in a drop or just keep things like
Oh, he
sort
said he
of,
was gonna do that too.
oh yeah, like add a little bit of sparkle around things.
That's true.
That can really help. And I think
Yeah, he
that's pretty
said
much it.
finish with drops and a solo. Yeah, like
Yeah. Okay.
I think he's thinking what you're thinking for sure.
So I mean, this can only go up from here, honestly.
Yeah, and
But
I was gonna say, just to highlight what Josh was saying, you could see with Yuha, he said it too. Um, it's coming through a bit. It sounds crushed. It's slowly fixing
that
itself.
was at the
I
beginning.
yeah,
I think that was
I
stream.
think Well, oh, okay. I thought it was my experience, honestly. So when the bass first came in, I was like, "Oh, that's really fucking loud, and it's really groovy." But
Hmm.
my ears kind of acclimated to it. And what I'm saying is like,
Yeah, sure.
yeah, like if you look at Daft Punk, which is like mastered really, really well, like it won't be that kind of experience. Like you don't have to get used to something sounding kind of, for the lack of a better word, unprofessional. But yeah,
Right.
I think that's a. I thought that's what Yuha was saying, but maybe not. He also says my BBC SO cycles. I God knows what that means. Through different samples when it plays the same note to try to combat what you're talking about. Yuha, you might want to elaborate what
Oh,
BBC SO means.
I'm trying to think what that it's something to do with a kit sampler or something like that.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's some plugin probably, but
Yeah.
yeah, usually they do like humanize a little bit where they have different samples and they sort of don't sound the same. I wasn't really as concerned with it sounding exactly the same. It's more that when, like Chris said, a sample sounds a little bit cheesy and then it's exactly the same each time, that it really sticks out.
Hmm.
If it's like a good sample, sometimes you can get away with it, but usually a little bit of variation helps people feel like it's something natural versus like totally unnatural that they're listening to.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, some people really like unnatural shit. Let's go production though.
Yeah. So then production, yeah, we do have to finish this one up.
Yeah,
Um,
because that's
I
where we're
mean,
mostly comment.
yeah, I think we went through a bunch of it already. It's like your
Yeah,
spectrum, is a little bit low heavy, low mid heavy. Use some reference tracks. Make sure that you're monitoring on speakers that you can actually hear that stuff accurately. And oftentimes, like if you're in a small room, it's going to be very hard to accurately monitor low frequencies because of the way they interact with the room itself. So yeah, headphones definitely
headphones
recommended. Like ATH M50. We need to get sponsored one of these days.
for
But
sure.
get
I
something that's
second that.
even. Yeah, like you should probably avoid something that's like a super contoured like audiophile headphone because those are trying to boost and cut different frequencies to make it sound more pleasing to the ear. That's not really what we're after in mixing. We're after accuracy. So anything that has as flat a curve as possible across the frequency spectrum, and you can find information about that online. But yeah,
Yeah,
big
you want
big thing
accuracy.
is yeah, is reference tracks and frequency content here. A couple of things we talked about with samples and then the vocals. I can't really think of a whole lot more than that, even on the production side. I think generally your source content is pretty good.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
things
think the
things sound
biggest
good
thing
so
was
far.
just the balance of the bass and what you were saying with the low mids.
Yeah. So I mean, I would
That's
give it a
really it.
chartreuse. I'd give it a
Yeah,
chartreuse in production
yeah, same. Yellow, green, lemon, lime.
for sure.
Track total. It's a bit. I think it's chartreuse, but I think this has a potential to go purple for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
It's very
Feffen.
like it's like 75% to between yellow and green for me. That shade of chartreuse.
Yeah, I mean, with vocals, without vocals, it's like, yeah, you can't release this yet. But
Right,
dude,
right.
this has potential, man. I think to go purple. So once you finish it up, unless you fuck it up, once you finish it up, man, submit it back to us, and this could be on our playlist for sure. I think it has potential.
Yes.
So
All
cool.
right. Let's do the next one here.
Let's see.
Uh
I'm gonna while you do that, I'm gonna read Yuha. The Spitfire plugin I use. Okay, so SO is probably Spitfire or something. Orchestra maybe. For example, they record each instrument they're playing the same note multiple times to get a small difference. Yeah, that's a good plugin.